Okay, so you guys wanted a deep dive on Yahya Sinwar, and well, let me tell you, this one's a doozy. We're going through his Wikipedia page today, and honestly, it reads like a movie, you know?
It's true. His life, it's not your typical, what do you call it? A typical background for, someone in his position. And yeah, I think the movie comparison is apt because to really understand Sinwar, you gotta go beyond just like the basic facts and look at what shaped him,
Right,
right?
like where he came from, all that. So, okay, picture this. 1962, Khan Yunis refugee camp, Gaza. That's where Sinwar's born. Not exactly starting at the top, right?
No, not at all. I mean, this isn't just about like lack of privilege or something. It's about being born into a situation defined by displacement. His family, they were forced out of their home, which is now Ashkelon, during the 48 war.
Right, the 1948 Arab-Israeli War.
Exactly. That whole experience, the loss, seeing conflict like firsthand as a kid, it gets ingrained, it shapes you.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so we're talking about a childhood uh, pretty much consumed by this conflict. He goes on, studies Arabic studies at the Islamic University of Gaza.
Yeah.
Seems, I don't know, kind of normal, right?
Yeah, you'd think so, but things they take a turn and it's not pretty. In his 20s, he helps start this group and their whole thing is targeting people they see as collaborators with Israel. And it's not just talk. This is when things get violent.
And this is where that nickname comes in, right? The Butcher of Khan Yunis. He's linked to the deaths of Israelis and Palestinians he considered, what, traitors.
Yeah, and this period is important because it really solidifies his image. He's
Yeah.
ruthless. He's willing to use, extreme violence to get what he wants, and it catches up to him eventually. In 1988, he's arrested, sentenced to count 'em, 4 life sentences.
4. Wow. That really tells you something, right? About his
Yeah.
commitment. No matter what you think of his cause, he was all in. But I got to wonder, those actions, specifically targeting Palestinians, right? Accused of collaborating. How did that, did that fly with the Palestinian community?
It's a tough one, right? There were definitely mixed feelings. Some people, they might have seen it as like a necessary evil, part of the fight for freedom. But others, I'm sure, were horrified by it, by the brutality. And to really get this whole thing, to understand the conflict itself, you gotta wrap your head around those different perspectives.
Yeah, for sure. And this is just the first act. So we've got Sinwar, right? 4 life sentences. You'd think that'd be it, game over. But this is where things get, I don't know, kind of wild.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, actually. You see this kind of, I guess, resilience. He doesn't just like give up in prison. He uses the time to, well, almost like level up, learns Hebrew, really dives into Israeli culture, their intelligence tactics, the whole 9 yards.
Wow, so he's using his time in an Israeli prison to prepare for his eventual showdown with Israel.
It's wild, right? And get this, he even writes a novel while he's locked up, The Thorn and the Carnation. That's the title.
Okay, now that title, that's got to be significant, right? The Thorn and the Carnation. It just, I don't know, seems like there's got to be some symbolism there. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Makes you wonder what he's trying to say, what story he's telling, from inside an Israeli prison. But then it gets even more, I don't know, unbelievable, I guess.
You're going to say the Israeli doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one who operates on him.
Bingo. Think about that. Really picture it. This guy, his whole life has been about fighting Israel. He's literally on death row in their prison. And then, boom, Israeli doctor saves his life, takes out his brain tumor. It just makes you think,
Yeah, it's more than just medicine, right? It's like, what do they call it? Irony. Or maybe like a metaphor for the whole conflict. I don't know. It's deep.
Totally. And it's not the only time you see these weird contradictions with Sinwar. Like, this is a guy who, even in prison, he's a leader.
Oh, right. He's elected, was it Emir? I got to be honest, I had to look that one up.
Right. Basically, think of it like commander or like a prince even, I guess. It shows you how Hamas, they're organized, even in prison, elections, committees, the whole deal. And Sinwar, he's at the top.
So it's not just about being tough or whatever.
Hmm.
This is a guy who knows how to work the system, build relationships, get people to follow him, all from a prison cell.
Exactly. And those skills, they're about to get put to the test big time with the Gilad Shalit prisoner exchange.
Oh, man. 2011, right. That was huge news.
Yeah.
Shalit, the Israeli soldier captured by Hamas, 5 years, I think.
5 years, yeah. And Sinwar, he's right in the middle of the negotiations, very hands-on and pretty controversial even back then.
Yeah, I'm going to say, wasn't he like really insistent on getting certain prisoners released?
Absolutely. He was dead set on getting these high-profile guys out, guys who were in for like multiple life sentences, attacks on Israel, the works. And he was not afraid to, to push it. Almost blew up the whole exchange over it.
So we were talking before about resilience, strategic thinking, being ruthless. This whole thing with Shalit, it's like all of that rolled into one. But who are these prisoners he fought so hard for? Like, what did it mean for Hamas to get them back?
These weren't just any guys. They were like heroes to Hamas, symbols of the resistance,
Yeah.
Getting them out, it wasn't just about these individuals. It was a statement.
And that statement, it's about to get a lot louder because 2011, Sinwar gets out of prison himself. And by 2017, he's running the show in Gaza.
Yeah, he takes over Hamas, officially becomes the leader.
Wild, right? From prisoner to like head honcho in what, 6 years?
3 years, yeah. 2017, he takes over from Hania. Crazy.
And he doesn't like ease into it either. It's bam, right away, consolidating power, building up their military, the whole bit.
This is where all that time studying the Israelis, it pays off, He knew how they worked, their strengths, their weaknesses, and he used it all to make Hamas stronger.
Like a, what do they call it, a self-made enemy. He learned everything from the guys he was fighting against.
Exactly. And don't forget about Iran. They become a major backer under Sinwar. He knew how to play the game on the world stage, too.
So we've got this guy, right? Ruthless, strategic, knows how to grab power. Then, and this is what gets me, he starts talking about peaceful resistance.
Yeah, that was something else. Like, is he changing his tune? Some people, they thought so. They said, look, he's realizing all this fighting. It's not the answer. Maybe he's actually trying to find a different way.
But then 2023 happens, right? The attack on Israel.
The deadliest attack they'd ever seen. And yeah, Sinwar, he's considered one of the masterminds behind it.
So much for peaceful anything, huh?
Right. It just goes to show, even with hints of, I don't know, maybe wanting something else, he was still committed to that fight.
So where does that leave us? I mean, this guy, Sinwar, he's full of contradictions, tough as nails, but also a brilliant strategist, capable of awful things, but also like playing it smart when he had to.
Exactly. And as of today, October 4th, 2024, we still don't know where he is, right? The U.S. wants him for terrorism. The ICC might be after him, too. It's like, I don't know. The whole thing.
Like something out of the movies, right?
Yeah.
This guy, born in a refugee camp, now he's like public enemy #1. It's mind-blowing.
And it just goes to show you this whole thing, this conflict, it's so complicated. There are no easy answers, no good guys, bad guys. It's messy.
Yeah, no doubt. And Sinwar, he's like the poster boy for how messy it all is. So what do you guys think? Hit us up on social media. Let us know your take on Yahya Sinwar. Use hashtag #TheGeep Dive. And yeah, we'll catch you next time for another Deep Dive.